Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a process video for day 7 of Grow in Grace and Knowledge from Bythewell4God. It's going to be a pretty simple entry today. I'm just going to slide out this folder that I'm working on for today, and I have all of my cards and scriptures from these flashcards clipped in the pages that have the corresponding scriptures. So I've just pulled those out. And now I'm going through the pattern papers to find a paper to use on the front of this folder to decorate. And I have chosen this one with the stripes in the background and these sweet flowers on the front. And I'm just going to adhere that down. I'm using an ATG advanced tape glider here from Scotch. And then I'm just going to glue that down. I like this ATG gun because the adhesive is really strong. So, and then I'm just flipping it over and I am cutting off the excess. It's easier for me to do that this way than to just kind of measure and try and line it up that way. So I just glue it and then cut off the excess. For the inside pages, I am going to do some stenciling at the top. I'm using Distress Oxide in Abandoned Coral, and this is a Bythewell4God stencil from a while back, and I'm just going to kind of use the corners of it. I'm not going to use the full stencil, and I'm not going to stencil all over. So I'm just kind of stenciling. I'm going into the ink, and then I always kind of stencil off onto the paper just so you don't get that really bright blob. It just kind of helps with that. And I'm trying to be very careful about where I'm placing this ink. I'm just trying to really get the images that are in the corners of the stencil, because it's got some flowers and different things that kind of coordinate actually with this kit as well. So I'm flipping the stencil and I'm going to do the other side with the other corner of the stencil. Just trying to decide which way I want to flip it to get that done. So then I'm going to do this top right hand corner in the same way, just adding some distress. I'm using a little makeup brush. I'm using a smaller one. I have a much bigger one, but I'm using a smaller one just because I'm only wanting to do part of the stencil, and I want to kind of be able to control more where I'm stenciling. So I'm just doing this corner here, and then I'm going to make sure that everything looks okay with this pattern paper. It's kind of hard to tell with my lighting, but this color actually looks really good with that stripe in the background here. So I just felt like it was a little empty, so I'm just going around now and kind of blending out some of the stenciling, just kind of making a fade almost into the center. And so I'm doing that around the edges and around the top. And then of course down at the bottom, I'm going to have some more pattern paper. I'm going to create some pockets down there to hold some journaling and stuff. There's a lot of notes that I want to include, a lot of scriptures that were referenced in this day. This is talking about studying the word. And so there's just a lot of scriptures that I need to include. So I want to make sure I have the space to do that. So I'm just kind of fiddling around here, getting everything cleaned up. And I am looking at this background and just kind of feel like it's a little bit plain. So what I decided to do is take some Neo colors, and I'm just scribbling it onto some packaging. And then with my water brush here, I'm going to just make some splatters with the different colors that are in the pattern paper. So I'm starting with this really bright blue, and then I'm going to use some yellow as well, and some orange. This is the orange color. I can't remember the name of this color, but these are just some Neo color water soluble crayons. And so I'm just adding some water, and then I'm going to do some yellow. And just trying to add a little bit of interest to the background without making it really obvious, I guess. So just holding this up to see how everything is looking, to see if that helps it. To me, it helps it just look a little bit more finished up there than just kind of a random stencil. So now I'm creating a green color mixing the yellow and the blue to try to get the right color of green that kind of matches the little leaves in this pattern paper. So just adding some more little splatters. I'm kind of keeping it mainly to the corners where the stenciling is and just a little bit across the white area. It's really hard to see on camera, but the little speckles are there. So now I'm going to adhere these 2 strips of pattern paper. These were just leftovers from when I cut down the pattern paper from the front, and I'm just cutting them down here, and I'm going to, like I said, glue these down at the bottom to make pockets down here, because at this point I'm thinking that that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to slide all my journaling and everything into these pockets. That changes a little bit here in a minute, but for now I'm going to go ahead and make pockets. I'm using a liquid glue so that the adhesive will dry completely and anything that I stick in there won't get stuck or keep getting stuck on the adhesive. So typically I use my ATG gun and I use a liquid glue interchangeably depending on what I'm using them for. Those are my 2 favorite glues. So here I'm laying out these flashcards that coordinate with the kit, but they have all of the scriptures, and so these are all referenced in day 7. So I'm trying to figure out, you can see I'm thinking here, how I want to do all of this. And as I'm sitting here just kind of contemplating, I just have everything sitting out. I've read through the scriptures. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm thinking that I'm going to write on the back of these cards each of the verses. And then I got to thinking that I would just create a waterfall kind of look. So I just started lining them up. And then as I was lining them up, I realized that they actually kind of tell a story. And so I decided to sort of switch around the order a little bit. And so when you're reading through them, it's kind of like if you pray and study, you will grow, and then understanding is revealed. I know that sounds kind of strange, and maybe it's just my own brain that works that way, but that's just how it all popped out to me as I was looking at all of these cards. So I went through each of those 5 cards and wrote the verse on the back, and I wrote it so that when you flip up the flash card, you will be able to read it. So and then I thought this would be really neat exercise to try to memorize these 5 verses. So that's one of the things that Christina Lowry who wrote this devotional for Bythewell4God. It's one of the things that she's talking about in this devotional quite a bit, is, committing the word to our minds and really studying it. And so I thought this would be a really good way to work on memorizing some of these scriptures. And so having this kind of waterfall effect will really help with that. And so what I've done is I've just taken some washi that I had in my stash, and I have gone through each of the cards and made sure that they were lined up. And now I'm going to do the underneath side. I always do that whenever I'm making a hinge. It just keeps it sturdier, and then that way you don't have an exposed adhesive from the washi tape. So I always do the front and back. And then this last verse I was pointing here in the book, when I was going through the devotional, there was a scripture that came to me in 2 Peter where it talks about you want to add to your faith virtue, and your virtue brotherly kindness and all those kinds of things. And so it talks about that, and it talks about bearing fruit. So I wanted to include that scripture as well. So I just wrote that out on a journaling card, and then I tucked it in this little pocket. So that pocket did come in handy after all. And that just includes that last little note. And then I realized I didn't finish doing the cover. So I'm back on the outside now of this little folder. And I've really enjoyed using craft cardstock, and these are actually stickers, but I've really enjoyed the kind of juxtaposition of the craft with all these really, really bright colors. So I'm going ahead and using this craft. This is like I said, it's a sticker, and I am just going to use Christina's swirly alphabet here, and I'm going to stamp out the word study. That's the name of this day's devotional. So, but I'm going to start with the Y and work to the left so that I can make sure I'm getting it on this little flag exactly where I want it. So I just went ahead and stamped all of that out. And then I will trim that down so that it's kind of hanging off it looks like it's hanging off the edge of my little folder here. So I'm just eyeballing it at this point, and then when I stick it down, I can trim it up if I need to. And I'm going through some of the die kits from the kit here, trying to decide what I want on the front cover. I decided to go ahead and use this quote. This is actually Psalm 1, and I wanted to back that with some craft cardstock also, just to kind of help bring that forward, since it's going to be right on that busy background. This will kind of anchor it, and it also helps bring in more of that craft that I brought in with the banner. So I'm trying to decide here how I'm going to put this all on the front, and then I realized I need to also have something that says day 1. So I brought in another craft sticker here, and that's where I will put day 1. I'm just kind of trying to figure out placement, really how I want everything. And then at this point, I thought I needed to add some little faux stitching. I've been doing that a lot lately with this kit for some reason, and I just really like it. There's something about the white on the craft that I really enjoy. So I went ahead and went around both pieces, the flag and the scripture. And now I am adhering those two pieces together. They're going to kind of be the little anchor down in the bottom right hand corner. And I'm going to spell out day 7 with the tile alphas that you can get that coordinate with the kit. I love these tile alphas. I use them a lot. So I think they're just perfect for something like that. And I always stick them on my hand, and then I apply them with tweezers. I'm not very nimble fingered, so this is just an easier way for me to try to get those little tile alphas lined up. So I'm just adding day 7 here, and then I realized I didn't put any white on this piece, so I'm just going to go around with my pen. This is a Uniball Signo. This is my favorite white pen. This is in the 1.0 tip, and I love this white pen a lot, so I use it quite a bit. Now I'm just adding adhesive to that one piece, and then I'm adhering this in the bottom right hand corner, and then I will stick down this sticker that says study, and I saved the part that I cut off because I can always use that on something else. So I decided I wanted it a little bit further over to the left, so I left it hanging off, and then I'm just trimming that down, the little excess piece. So now when you open up my little folder here, you have all of these scriptures and then one tucked in there, but there's a quote that I wanted to include from Christina, so I'm just going to write that out on another cardstock, craft sticker, and I'm just tucking it in underneath all of those waterfall scriptures. That way I just kind of have everything that I wanted to remember from this kit, from this day's devotional, in this folder. So this is what all of that looks like for day 7. So if you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye-bye.